Well, they pretty somber yesterday. They were down a little bit, and it's a job with myself and this coach and the staff to make sure that when they come back on Tuesday, that they understand that we have a brand new opportunity this week, and there's a lot of football left to be played. But they were disappointed as well. They should be. It was a big game. It was a big game. It was a game that we really needed. A game we really wanted. We prepared. We had a great week of practice. We didn't get it done. And you know, hats off to Miami. A lot of that was done in the trenches. I mean, you go back and you look at it, as simple as that. We averaged 2.5 yards a carry. They averaged 5.6. We gave up 5 sacks. They gave up none. On third down was probably the only bright side that I thought I saw. You know, we were able to get off the field. I think they were 5 of 14 or so, and then on our end, that was kind of the key to our lack of success. Whereas last week, as that game started going, we started converting on third down, started putting up some points, keeping on the board. Last week we were 6-16, and that's not going to get you very many wins, and that puts your defense in a bad situation. To where we missed a ton of tackles, a lot of tackles, too many tackles, an acceptable amount of tackles. But when they've got to be out there and play the number of snaps that they had, sometimes that might be the case.
You put that all, I mean, not all of it, but more on the offense than the defense as far as, you know, not generating.
No, Tom, they got to make plays too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because offensively, they did sack off 85 plays. You know, and so you know, they were efficient to a degree. It's fundamentals. Guys got to step up and they got to man up. Because you go back and you look at the video, it's bad and it's evident. We're in the right gaps, we're in the right places. We got guys small in our faces. We can't do that. We can't do that. And we got to get some other guys in. And we got to give them opportunities to play.
Can this, with what's the week after this game, are you a believer in momentum? Is that the value of this next game, or is it an isolated situation?
It's a beauty of football. I mean, every week it's a new ball game.
Yeah.
You go back, and I don't think there's a person in the country that saw Old Dominion beat Virginia Tech. I don't think anybody saw that coming. So, and it goes back to us getting those kids in today, continuing to preach who we want to be. When we talk about it, we know we're not where we want to be. It's part of the growth, part of our process. We've got some guys that are doing some good things. We truly do. We got to continue to build on those. We got to be honest about the mistakes that are being made. We got to get those fixed. So we got to get people in there that will, you know, give us a better chance to be successful.
The run defense has not been good, and now you have to face a team that runs
the ball
all the time,
up and down the football field.
How do you approach a game when your biggest struggle on defense is what the other team does really well?
Well, our biggest struggle on defense isn't from a schematical standpoint, and I think sometimes that's the key when you play these triple option teams. I think the scheme is what really gets you in a lot of trouble. I think that visiting with Coach Bellini, very familiar with it. I know that when he was a defensive coordinator at FAU, you know, they got out to that, they were pretty good. You know, so we'll be in the right places, Jordan. I think we've just got to tackle it, and that just goes back to just us challenging these young men to be better. You know, and then if the guys out there aren't making the plays, if we've got nothing to lose. You got to put the next guy up in, and hopefully you find somebody that can make that play.
I heard Frank Solich saying one time that the hardest part about facing a triple option team is that your scout team can just never run it the way it's going to look on Saturday. So what kind of things can you do in practice to maybe give them a taste of what you're going to see?
Well, number one, take the ball away. You know what I mean? Take the ball away. You got dive quarterback picks, and that's pretty much, you know, you got to trust your keys. You know, so those are the things that we'll do. The quarterback, unfortunately, will have to be live this week because you can't simulate it. You know, just tagging out on the QB. But it presents a lot of problems, and a lot of them, again, is eye discipline and making sure that everybody's taking care of their assignment.
You said that there's enough guys in this offense that you guys shouldn't be struggling the way that you are.
Right.
So who does that fall on then? Is that on you? Is that on the offensive coaches? Who is that on then? If there are enough guys,
it's on us as an offensive call. We've got to do a better job of protecting the quarterback. That's the first thing that's evident. I mean, we've been fairly efficient from an offensive standpoint. We're probably ahead of where we were last year. I want us to be better, because I feel like we have enough skill set and enough talent to be better, to take that next step. So it starts first and foremost by us finding a way, whether it's being more versatile, rolling the pocket, more bootlegs, more waggles, getting them out of harm's way, and then helping our offensive line a little bit instead of just sitting back and trying to drop back and throw it 50 times. But I do believe that from a skill set standpoint, we got enough guys that given the opportunities and space that they can be very productive. We got to get the ball.
Your offensive line didn't struggle that much against some defensive lines that were arguably much more talented in a couple games this year, Coach. What do you attribute to their struggles as
Well, some of the troubles this past week was going from a 3 down to a 4 down, and the guard spot is where we kind of had our issues this week. And when you play an odd front, those guards are uncovered, and really they're playing in space. And you know, they had a pretty good player over this past week, and you know, we took some lumps.
Offensively, to get the running game going, does this have to be a situation where you pass to run and not the other way around?
That's looking like it. I mean, we coming into the season really wanted to be run first and then come RPO and play on top of it. But looking at the game, after 4 weeks, you got to know where your strengths are. And I think our strengths right now is probably our ability and our efficiency in our passing game. Because when he's upright, I think he's completing 67, 68% of his passes. We've got to spread these teams out. We've got to get them running north, left, between east and west, and slow some of these big defensive linemen out, and then probably start to establish running game.
One of the best weapons against triple options, keeping it off the field. So how much role does the offense have in this?
It's big. I mean, because your possessions are going to be limited. And so what you don't want to do is try to force too many things and panic. And I mean, going there with an idea that I've got to take shot after shot after shot to do that. And so I think you're spot on. I think we have to be efficient on third down. We have to keep the ball. We have to keep our defensive rested. When we get in the red zone, we've got to score touchdowns and not kick field goals.
You mentioned after the game, you know, the possibility of maybe having to play a little faster. Scotty's talked about maybe having to play a little faster. Does that come into play this week, or how does that?
We'll see. We'll be a little bit on it tonight. I think, you know, towards the end of the game there, I think we scored 20 points in the fourth quarter by taking up the tempo. You know, a lot of factors that went into that. You know, they had taken the starters out at one point. That makes a difference, trust me. But we were able to get in some sort of a rhythm. And when you're able to do that and have some sort of success, what it does, it keeps them from subbing the defensive line in and out, and keeping those guys on the field for 7-8 plays. And when you're overmatched a little bit at a certain position, that could give you some sort of advantage.
Do you anticipate changes along the line this week?
There'll be a couple.
I'm going to ask this with all due respect. Do you still believe that you are the guy for this job and that you can win here?
No doubt.
Why?
No doubt. Because you can recruit here. And it's happened before. We've been through these cycles. I mean, this is a school with great tradition. You know, we've shown that we can sign 2 classes in the top of our conference. We've shown, if you go back and you look at the conference, you look at the East, I mean, Chuck's in his 5th year, Buffalo, I mean, Lance is in his 4th year and starting to get that thing turned around. All it takes is a couple games, and all it takes is a belief. So I think we've got the right guys in places from a coaching standpoint, and I think we've got the talent coming as well. So there's no doubt in my mind we can get this thing done here.